The Philippines is making a decisive move to reshape Indo-Pacific security by pushing for a new coalition, unofficially called TheSquad, with the United States, Japan, and Australia. This initiative is not just a diplomatic gesture, it's a bold attempt to rewrite the rules of engagement in a region fraught with tension and uncertainty. By bringing together these major powers, Manila is signaling its intent to play a more active and influential role in regional affairs. This marks a shift from relying solely on the U.S. to building a multilateral front against China's assertiveness in the South China Sea. The presence of multiple allies sends a stronger message, showing that Manila is no longer willing to stand alone or be overshadowed by larger powers. Years of harassment by Chinese vessels have convinced Manila that diplomatic protests and old treaties are no longer enough. Filipino fishermen have faced intimidation and economic hardship, while the government's repeated calls for restraint have gone largely unanswered. By formalizing TheSquad, the Philippines aims to deter aggression, signaling that any attack will trigger a coordinated response from powerful allies. This is a clear warning to potential aggressors that Manila is not isolated, and that any hostile action could have far-reaching consequences. The alliance goes beyond military drills, focusing on intelligence sharing, joint defense development, and rapid crisis response. These efforts are designed to create a seamless network of cooperation, making it harder for adversaries to exploit gaps or weaknesses. Manila's strategy is to combine American military power, Japanese technology, and Australian strategic depth to level the playing field. By leveraging each partner's unique strengths, the Philippines hopes to build a more resilient and capable defense posture. This move challenges ASEAN's tradition of neutrality and signals a clear alignment with the Western Bloc, even at the risk of economic fallout with China. Manila is betting that security and sovereignty are worth the potential cost, even as it faces pressure from regional neighbors to maintain unity. As Manila lays the groundwork, the world watches to see if TheSquad will stabilize the region or spark new tensions. The outcome could redefine alliances and rivalries across the Indo-Pacific, with ripple effects felt far beyond the South China Sea. The dawn of TheSquad could mark a turning point in the Indo-Pacific's balance of power, ushering in a new era of collective security, or potentially a new chapter of strategic competition. For decades, the U.S.-Philippines alliance stood as the cornerstone of Manila's defense strategy, shaping the country's military posture and providing a sense of security against external threats. American and Filipino troops trained side by side, and the presence of U.S. bases projected power across the region. But as the global landscape shifted, new and evolving threats forced Philippine leaders and strategists to reconsider their approach, prompting a strategic rethink that would redefine the nation's security priorities. The closure of U.S. bases in the 1990s, combined with China's assertive rise and island building in the South China Sea, exposed the vulnerabilities of relying on a single ally. Suddenly, the old security framework seemed insufficient for the new realities. In response, new agreements like the Visiting Forces Agreement and Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement revived the U.S. military presence, allowing for joint exercises, rotational deployments, and rapid response capabilities. Yet, even with these renewed ties, Manila recognized that a broader network of partners was essential to address the region's complex security challenges. President Marcos Jr. has championed a new approach called minilateralism, forging agile coalitions with countries like Japan and Australia. These partnerships are designed to supplement, not replace, the long-standing U.S. alliance, creating a more dynamic and responsive security architecture. This networked approach builds multiple layers of deterrence and diplomatic support, making it harder for any single adversary to challenge the Philippines or its partners. It reflects a modern understanding that true security now depends on webs of cooperation, shared intelligence, and joint action, not just the protection of one powerful patron. The informal Squad, a grouping of the US, Philippines, Japan, and Australia, is the clearest sign of this strategic shift, symbolizing a new era of collective defense. But this is only part of a broader effort, as Manila actively seeks to engage more international partners, from Europe to India and across ASEAN, to build a truly global network of support. Manila's evolution from bilateral dependency to multilateral network builder marks a new era of proactive diplomacy, where the Philippines takes charge of its own security destiny. The ultimate goal is clear: greater resilience and flexibility in an increasingly contested Indo-Pacific, where rapid response and strong alliances are more important than ever. This is the Philippines' answer to a rapidly changing security environment, a strategy built on adaptation, partnership, and a vision for a secure future. The Squad emerged gradually, built on shared concerns over China's territorial claims and a desire to keep the Indo-Pacific open. Joint naval exercises and patrols within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone have become routine, boosting both readiness and signaling unity to Beijing. High-level meetings among defense ministers have transformed separate bilateral ties into a more cohesive quadrilateral framework. The informal nature of the alliance has allowed for flexible, rapid cooperation, testing deeper collaboration without the constraints of a formal treaty. But as China's actions grow bolder, Manila sees the need to formalize the alliance for greater credibility and deterrence. The next step, institutionalizing this partnership to ensure it endures and deters aggression. The Squad is moving from ad hoc cooperation to a lasting security pact. China's escalating aggression in the West Philippine Sea has convinced Manila that informal alliances and diplomatic protests are no longer enough. The situation has reached a tipping point, with each new incident pushing the Philippines to seek stronger, more reliable, security guarantees from its partners. Repeated water cannon attacks and dangerous maneuvers by Chinese vessels have made the threat real and urgent. These are not isolated events, they represent a pattern of intimidation that puts Filipino lives and sovereignty at risk, and signals that the status quo is no longer sustainable. Formalizing the Squad would raise the stakes for any act of aggression, turning a bilateral incident into a multilateral crisis. This means that any hostile move against one member could draw in the collective response of all, making deterrence much more credible. The timing is right. Leadership in Manila, Washington, Tokyo, and Canberra are aligned, and all see the need for a stronger security framework. This rare convergence of political will creates a unique window of opportunity to act decisively. The US is pushing for a networked regional defense, while Japan and Australia are stepping up their roles in Southeast Asia. These countries are not just offering words, they are increasing their military presence, sharing intelligence, and conducting joint exercises to build real operational trust. A formal pact would provide the legal and institutional backbone for joint planning, procurement, and crisis response. It would streamline decision-making and ensure that all members are ready to act together when needed. It would also ensure the alliance survives political changes in any member country. By embedding cooperation into law and institutions, the alliance becomes resilient, outlasting any single administration or shift in domestic politics. For the Philippines, this is about building a security shield that will last for decades. It's an investment in the nation's future, aiming to protect its people, territory, and way of life from external threats. The urgency is clear. Manila wants a credible deterrent before the next crisis erupts. The stakes have never been higher, and the time to act is now, before the window of opportunity closes. Manila is working on legal agreements to turn the informal Squad into a formal alliance, starting with a reciprocal access agreement with Japan. This would streamline joint training and boost military interoperability, paving the way for a more integrated defense arrangement. Manila is also pushing for a formal Council of Defense Ministers and regular high-level consultations to institutionalize crisis management. The long-term vision is a NATO-like pact, but incremental steps, like joint councils and observer partnerships, are the immediate focus. The Philippines is courting India and South Korea to broaden the coalition's reach and capabilities. A robust public campaign frames the alliance as a defensive move to protect sovereignty and uphold international law. The message, the Squad, is about stability, not provocation. Formalizing the Squad risks fierce backlash from China, including economic sanctions and increased military pressure. China is the Philippines' top trading partner, and Beijing has a track record of using economic leverage to punish rivals. Manila must balance security gains with the risk of trade restrictions, investment losses, and a potential tourism slump. Within ASEAN, the move could fracture regional unity, as some neighbors see it as undermining neutrality and drawing the region deeper into great power rivalry. The Philippines will need deft diplomacy to reassure ASEAN that the alliance is defensive, not destabilizing. Domestically, support for the alliance could waver if economic pain mounts or political winds shift. Future administrations might reverse course, threatening the alliance's credibility. Sustaining this strategic shift will test Philippine leadership and resolve. Real-world clashes in the South China Sea underscore the need for a stronger alliance. Chinese water cannon attacks and dangerous maneuvers have injured Filipino crews and damaged vessels, making the threat tangible. In response, the Philippines and its partners have expanded joint military exercises, including live fire drills and multilateral patrols in contested waters. The inclusion of Australia and Japan in these drills signals the growing multilateral nature of the alliance. Maritime cooperative activities now see all four navies operating together, asserting freedom of navigation and challenging China's claims. Each incident justifies deeper alliance ties, while each exercise is seen by Beijing as provocation, fueling an escalatory cycle. The risk of miscalculation is real, but Manila believes a formal pact is the best way to manage and de-escalate these encounters. The stakes, preventing a minor clash from spiraling into a major conflict. Formalizing the Squad is key to modernizing the Philippine military, which has long lagged behind regional powers. Decades of focus on internal security left the AFP ill-equipped for maritime defense. A formal alliance would unlock access to advanced technology, training and funding from the US, Japan, and Australia. Joint exercises and technology transfers would help the AFP develop credible deterrence and integrate with coalition partners. The goal isn't parity with China, but an asymmetric posture that can impose real costs on aggressors. The alliance would institutionalize knowledge transfer and help the AFP shift from internal to external defense. The Squad is the cornerstone of Manila's strategy to become a more capable and self-reliant guardian of its sovereignty. A formal Squad alliance would transform Southeast Asia's security landscape, giving the Philippines a powerful deterrent and a stronger hand in negotiations with China. But it also risks drawing Manila deeper into US-China rivalry, with potential economic and political costs. The alliance could polarize ASEAN, forcing neighbors to choose sides and undermining regional diplomacy. Yet it might also create a more stable balance of power, encouraging others to defend their maritime rights. Manila is betting that collective security outweighs the risks, even if it means economic pain or diplomatic fallout. If successful, the Squad could anchor Philippine security for decades, reshaping the Indo-Pacific order. The stakes are high. This is a bold gamble for sovereignty and stability. The world is watching as Manila charts a new course in the South China Sea.